Hello, everybody. This is Cockatoo. Cockatoos with attitude.
Hello.
You, hello.
I'm not a cockatoo, but I have attitude.
Why does she look pregnant? Um,
Oh,
oh, it's
sugar.
just the position of her wing and the way her wing is right there. Hey, kid, you're not a mammal, so let's not do that, okay?
Maybe she's had too much red wine and put on a little weight.
Maybe so. Today we're going to talk a little bit about, oh, I want a cockatoo and the issues that surround that. So just recently had somebody asking a question about getting one, so I thought it might be a good topic. Okay.
And we've got some chatters already, so we can greet a few folks. We've got Natalie and James. So, hello, Natalie and James. Natalie says, I figured out a lot of health issues. Things with our house are looking up. I may have MS, but hey, I'm not dying. So, that's very good to hear. We're glad you're not dying, and we're glad that you're figuring things out. And we've also got Lisa and Jocelyn and Calvin. Hello to all of you guys. And we've also got Falcon Sue, who says, Happy Wednesday, everyone and everybody. So
Hey
welcome to
guys.
all of you guys.
Hello. Hello. Cecil, can you say hello? You can, but you just won't do it. You're stubborn. You're a stubborn
He looks
bird.
kind of busy right now.
That sounds like Cecil. He looks kind of busy. Even when he's hugging you, he's busy doing it. That boy. Always a busy boy, aren't you? Hmm? Are you just playing with that piece of wood? Because you haven't taken a chunk out of it.
Maybe he's going to sharpen it.
I think he's trying to figure out where he's going to make the grip because he likes to edge a grip on it so he can whack me in the head with something. It's kind of look like that's what it looks like he's doing, but he's found a knot, which is a good spot to do that. You know, not on the knot itself, but around it. We'll see what he does. And who else do we have with us here? Let me see. Switch the camera. Snowball. I tried putting the frisbees next to the chair over here, but he was too close to the door, and I know he'll dart out to try to get Lorelei. So I put him there. Now he's up there like taking possession of them. We're gonna play frisbee today, right?
Where are you going? blue and yellow frisbees. Which one are you going to be? Are you the blue team or the yellow team, Snowball?
There's a white one hiding under there too.
Well, he's already a member of the white team.
Yeah, he is.
He likes to stalk the pink team.
If you get them too far from me, I can't toss them for you.
Right.
He says I'm
No
gonna
touching
play
the
anyway.
screen. No. Right. Oh, God.
And of course we have Sugar. Whoops, I got the wrong camera. Sugar
Hi,
and
Shug.
the Sugar Bird.
Hi, Shuggy. Hi,
Is
viewers and chatters.
Hello.
That's
Sugar's
a weird.
sitting particularly dramatically today.
Yeah, she's
She
got an
is.
odd look about her today, don't you, kid? What are you doing? Uh, your touch just looks weird today. Jazzy Jazzbird. Jasmine.
Oh, she likes to sit close to Shug lately.
Hi, Jazz.
Hmm? Well, loving aunties.
The KK Bird.
KK. Hi, KK.
Mr. KK. And I need a telephoto lens on that one.
There's a Lucy.
See, girl. I think
Lucy.
somehow I got to go into settings for a second. I think it's reversed my camera, and I don't want it doing that. Yeah, since it's on mirror, I won't. With my SDAM, if you mirror the camera, I go, what? What am I doing? I can't position it. Hi there, kid. You taking a nap? Why are you in my pocket again? Get out of my pocket. You don't belong in my pocket. No, you don't. No, you don't belong in my pocket. All right, Snowball, if you must.
He's a cutie.
Whoops.
Whee!
Trying not to hit you in the head with the thing. I'm going to have to throw it to your side a little bit.
So cute.
Try again. Is that what you're telling me? Well, you're awfully close for this, you know?
It says throw it properly this time. Yay! Good catch.
You caught it.
That was a great catch.
He can do that from 10 feet away if I throw it right, but I'm kind of a little impaired when it comes to throwing a frisbee. What are you doing? You're just going to hang on to it now?
He looks proud of himself.
You're supposed
He
to
says,
throw it back to me.
did everyone see that catch?
He's good at catching those things. It's just that you have to kind of get it close to his face for it to happen, but I've got to work on his foot today too. He's got that callus growing over a little bit too much. He's starting to hobble a bit, so I've got to work on his foot today. All right, Snowball.
Oh, you got me 3 times. Oh, come on.
My phone, my phone. Give it to me.
Oh, she's getting tired.
Oh, she sounds it. Yeah.
But she wants to watch the birdies.
It's people. All right, the topic today is cockatoos are not for everyone. Why love isn't enough. And I often get people saying, well, it just takes love. But with these guys, no, it takes a little more than that. It's good to have that loving kindness, but you need to know a few more things than that. So, people will say, oh, I love animals. I'd be perfect for a parrot. Uh-huh. Many times that turns into a horror story, because you get yourself a parrot, and then all of a sudden you have this thing that's screaming and biting, and you have no clue, no clue what to do. And then when you try to rehome it, like nobody wants to do that. And you find out that you can't rehome them. So this is the truth that people either don't hear or they refuse to hear before they get a parrot. You won't hear it from a pet store, so don't go into one of those places. They'll sell you anything. They'd sell you a cage you could only keep a cockroach in. They go, well, it's okay. You can buy a bigger cage later. I've heard that one. I actually heard them say that. I heard a what do you call it? A salesperson, I guess. Minimum wage salesperson say that to somebody. I turned around and I go, that doesn't work. And they need a lot of space. They have to be able to flap their wings. You get them a small cage and they're going to go nuts. That was popular at that place. Fortunately, it closed down. It's no longer there. So, why are they so difficult if you just think you can love them, right? Well, because they're intelligent, they're emotionally intense. Uh, Cecil, I have to show Cecil when I say that, though. They're emotionally intense. Are you intense? Huh? Another intense one is in my lap here. They're all that intense, though. They're just being intense right now. Hi, how are you doing? And it's that season right now where their mating behavior is coming out, and you don't know what you're doing, you can end up in all kinds of trouble. They're developmentally damaged because they were raised in captivity. Um, and frankly, your heart will be broken if you just go out and get one of these guys and aren't prepared for what you're doing. So, and believe me, I learned a lot when I first started. I was reading Parrots for Dummies, okay, and somebody had Chloe, just happened to be an hour away, but and it could have been anywhere in the world, but it was an hour away, and I had no idea. I mean, I was just starting to learn. I didn't want to get a bird at that time because unlike so many, I don't just step into something. I want to find out because you don't know what you're stepping into, right? Um, that's like somebody who doesn't know what a snake is, and they're going, "Oh, that looks so cute. I'd like to have one of those. I could wrap it around my arm." Yeah, yeah, you could. You know what kind of snake it is? You have any idea how they live? They don't have their own heat source, so you have to provide a heat source for. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things you have to do if you're going to have reptiles, right? What are you doing down there, big boy? Hmm? So what people usually do is they see some kind of cute video on the web. This was a problem when the movie Rio came out. One of our board members who happens to live across the country was able to contact the various news stations around there and she got every one of them except Channel 10, I think it was, um, to come and talk to us about the problems with the movie Rio and the dangers of doing what they do. Like in that movie, they actually show the so-called bird expert feeding a bird from his mouth. We have so many nasty things inside of us. You do not want to touch your mouth to their beak. they're relatively clean. I mean, compared to other animals, they're probably one of the cleanest on the planet. So you don't want to do that. But I also remember channel 10 didn't want to come out because we like animals that are cuddly and parrots aren't cuddly. Yeah. So I wasn't the one that talked to Channel 10. It was one of our other board members at the time, and she was one of those people who never minced words. And she told the guy that he was stupid and didn't know anything, which is which was true. But um, so they see this cute bird dancing to music. You know which one I'm talking about. That one's the only bird I know of that has a trademark after its name. And they think, oh, I want one of those. First of all, they don't all dance. Okay, you this one up here, she's not going to dance. Jasmine does. Lucy doesn't dance. So that's one of the things they do. Or they see a bird like Romeo saying, "I love you," and they, oh, I want a bird that can do that. You know, except when Romeo says, "I love you," what he's really saying is, I want." It's an I want. He's saying, "I want something" when he says, "I love you." Um, so I want an animal that can talk. And that when they can't handle their relationships with the people around them, they want something that can talk, something that intelligent, right? So, and because we're in this consumer society where everything is about buying, I mean, a good friend of mine, uh, he was a boat captain in Cabo San Lucas, and he moved up here. He was talking about the way Christmas down in Cabo San Lucas in Mexico. He said everybody gets one gift. No, that's one gift. People, their friends, all sit around and decide what the one good gift would be for that person. They get one gift. But for 2 weeks before Christmas, they're all getting together, hanging out with each other, having a good time. You know, we're up here in the country I live in. They're all crowded on the freeways. Am I gonna get all the kids everything they want? Are they gonna be happy with the stuff they get? I mean, down there it's more like we just want to get together and be friends. They got the right idea down there, but up here it's all about, what's the bottom line for corporation A and B. So you see this thing and you think, oh, I want it, But what most of those videos don't show you is the screaming, which was caused by the human, the biting, which was caused by human because they don't do it in the wild, right? The shredded walls, the furniture, right? I could show you some walls. Oh, let's see. Over there, the doorway. And this is minimal damage. I mean, give them an opportunity and don't stop them. They'll eat a hole through a door. Coco did that. I just thought it was funny because that door needed to be replaced anyway, so I let her do it. But so people don't know that. And then the other side of it is, the sympathy in your heart comes out when you can tell they're not happy, but you don't know how to fix it. When I look down in the cage, especially around this time in the nesting season, and I see somebody like Bob sitting on a couple of toys, he's just trying to be a dad. Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, isn't that cute?" No, it's nothing cute about it. It's sad, because they can't be what they were meant to be, right? So that hurts too. And so you have on the one hand how they could change your life with screaming and biting because you don't know what you're doing. Not your fault. We're trained here to buy things, not to know things. So, yeah, you know what the sales are going to be, right? It's Black Friday. We can go to Walmart and maybe we can get something cheap or die. Um, so, um, sorry, Cecil. I didn't mean to bump you. I apologize. Okay, Cecil's not happy with me right now. I bumped him. So a lot of social media will glamorize it. You'll see, oh, this cute bird. Look what the cute bird did. Isn't this cute? You see a lot of that. the problem with that is just like when that movie Rio came out, uh, I had wanted to tell people don't go buy one because the movie it made people think, oh, cockatoos, they're cute, parrots, they're cute. Um, one guy from one channel, which shall remain, let's see, so I don't get myself in trouble. I won't say the name. I'll just say it's an animal with a furry tail. Left after talking to us, and then went to a bird store and obviously got paid because after hearing what I said, why people shouldn't have them, he immediately started making it sound like you should go to this place and buy parrots. So I don't know whether they slipped him 100 or a couple of hundred or what they did, but he was about as ethical as most politicians. So the one who did the best job was Channel 8. I still have a copy of that. It was perfect. He got the message right. He and his crew were only there for 15 minutes, but they got everything right. And he put it together out in their van in less than a half an hour, and it was absolutely brilliant. And it told the real story. But the problem is, there's so many videos about cute parrot this and cute parrot that, but they don't show you the parrot poop. That's got to be cleaned today because they pull the paper out of it. That kind of poop comes up in one day, and it's large, right? Um, I will tell you the good thing: it comes right out of the carpet if you let it dry. Um, but still, there's a lot you don't know. I recently had somebody asking a question like, well, how do you teach them where to poop? Well, most of the time they're going to get on a perch to poop. They're going to go up somewhere high to go. That's what they do. It's just how they work. They're not going to poop on you unless you're getting a small one. Small parrots are known for that. You get yourself a conure, or you get yourself a lovebird. I hate that name because then people think they have to have two of them and keep them in a cage together, um, just because of a name. You know, um, but small birds like that will do that. They will poop on you, but these bigger ones don't do that. There's so much to learn, and they're emotional, and you don't realize that you're hurting their feelings sometimes. Like this one, if I don't go by her cage when I'm turning the lights on in the morning and saying good morning and pet her through the cage bars, you could look over. I don't do this because I don't want to see it, but you could look over and she would be looking with her head down and looking at you with squinted eyes, like, why did you forget me this morning? So little things that don't mean much to us can mean a lot to them. Dogs, I mean, you can do all kinds of things to dogs and they just roll over, right? When they give you that alpha thing. These guys don't have that. They don't have a pecking order. One is not higher than another. A tiny bird can chase a large bird out of its territory. The large bird will run away, because it's territorial. And so they're not like dogs or cats. They're wild animals. Doesn't matter if they're in your house. They're still a wild animal. It's like having a polar bear in your house, as Nikki Mustafi and the Parrots for Dummies said. Imagine having a polar bear. And we know about as much about polar bears as we do about parrots. And parrots are not mammals. So a good example is I have a few videos of Romeo, where he's such a sweet bird. You see him, he's saying "I love you," and you're cuddling him. But what people don't see is what happens if you don't approach his cage properly because he's got damaged wings. Some veterinarian thought he was getting smart or starting a trend, and so if you don't approach him just right, like you would with an autistic child, he will snap out at you. And he's not trying to, he's just scared because he can't fly and he knows it. And he has his balance is thrown off. So the people who had him before was actually a veterinary office. The people were looking at me saying, well, he's mean, he bites. And they wanted me to take stand and do a picture with some of the staff. And they said, what bird do you want to hold? I said, I'll hold Romeo. And they go, oh, no, he bites. Um, but I could tell right away that he was afraid, so I just dealt with him gently, and he was okay. Um, but if I were to go over to his cage, just at any random time of day and put my hand in there, he is probably going to try to push it away. But if my hand doesn't move fast enough, he'll try to bite at it. And that's out of fear. It's not because he doesn't like me. He likes me. He expects me to stay within a certain range of behavior. He's he's an exception though, but you can see him as this cute little video, right? Because I can't. I have not yet been able to get a video of the other behavior. I should do that to show people, but so these guys, when they're raised in captivity, they're like kids that never learned to walk or speak. Uh, the essential things we teach children, how to go to the bathroom, how to eat, how to hold silverware, all that stuff we teach children. Eleanor, all that stuff we teach children, um, they don't get to learn because in order to raise these guys in captivity, you have to steal the eggs away as soon as they're laid. Otherwise, the parents will break them. And as I always say, would you want your kids growing up in captivity? So they couldn't figure out how to raise these guys because the parents would always break the eggs. So they eventually started the incubator thing, and that's why we now have birds that feather pluck and birds that try to kill themselves, and basically, um, is because these wonderful breeders figured out a way to do it. Unfortunately, it just destroys the bird. They're born with all these problems. They missed critical bonding. They missed the stages in their development. So now they live in a kind of permanent functional autism. And yes, I know there's got to be some people out there with autistic children are going, well, that's not autism. Not autism. I'm saying functionally autistic. Look it up. Okay. It means that they have developed the symptoms of autism because of the way they were raised. They are functionally autistic. Um, so after all of this, you end up with they're not kids, okay? They're not, you can't really relate them to children, but in order to get the point across, it's like a permanent toddler, that walks around with a bolt cutter and a foghorn, right? Because they are loud. If you think my hearing is great, I recently had somebody saying that because I said that when I was a kid, they assessed me as having perfect pitch, and they wanted me to be in Glee Club. Well, whatever hearing I had has been destroyed over the last 16 years. When I
Sorry,
so,
can we do a little short interruption for I think KK has put himself in timeout.
yeah, he has.
Okay, we have another
Yeah,
timeout group.
you wonder, but they're living cages so much that going into one is not a big deal. Although if I close the door on that, he probably wouldn't be happy. KK, are you all right? When he starts moving his feet against the bars like that and hanging by his beak, he's not feeling good. Are you okay? KK, 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 are you all right? KK, good bird. KK, good bird. Yeah, when he starts hanging like that and moving his feet, he's not a happy boy. Are you okay?
Oh, he's not a happy boy. Oh no.
Oh, what's the matter with the KK then?
Come here, KK.
What's
Want a
got him
happy
all
KK?
sad?
He wants attention. He's an umbrella. He wants attention.
Oh, I thought he wants to be cuddled. Okay, he needs a
Yeah, well,
cuddle
that's
puddle. Where are all the other umbrella boys? Come here and cuddle the
come,
KK.
come here. I'm glad you caught him in that cage because I don't want him doing that. That's not. Come here, baby.
I was just observing Snowball stalking Jasmine Bird. And Lucy was watching closely, and then I saw someone switch in the cage, and I thought, who is that? And then I thought probably KK.
Mm.
Yeah,
It's
he
usually
was.
Jasmine in the cage, but they're switching it up today.
Yeah, Jasmine, that's something we know.
Yeah, I have a word for that from the movie Benny and June. Whenever bird starts acting like that, I say they're having a boo rattly day.
Oh,
Boo rattly day. You okay? Yeah.
You know, all the viewers are watching you, KK. You're getting lots of attention. The whole internet's there.
Cecil, do you think he needs a toy? Don't bash him.
No,
He's a
don't
good
don't
boy.
hit him,
Don't bash
please.
him.
Don't hit him with the toy. He needs a little love right now, not to be beat up. Oh, you got the knot. See, Cecil took the knot out of that so that he could use that to hold on to it. Remember I told you he was going to do that? He
Wow.
took he took the knot out of it. Yeah.
Oh, he's done that neatly.
Yeah. Well, he usually does. That's why I was mentioning it. He usually does that.
Yeah.
So he can
That's
get a good
amazing.
grip on it. You
He's got,
okay?
I would say he's got good manual dexterity, but it's his beak. He's got, he's got beakial dexterity.
Yeah, well, their beaks are pretty amazing. I mean, their tongue actually has a bone in it, and it has intrinsic and extrinsic muscles just like our fingers do. So it can do amazing things with that tongue. That beak and tongue combination is beats the heck out of our teeth and our mouth. So, they're not parent raised, so they've got developmental trauma, and they can't really soothe their own emotions, in the wild, they just, whenever, I suppose, from looking at them, whenever they feel they need something, they just go and do it. I'm going to go play with this, or I'm going to hook up with this other bird, and they're able to entertain, but it's really hard to entertain yourself when you're in a cage, right? Or it's hard to entertain yourself when you're about 3 feet or 2 feet away from a phone, and your mother won't let you have it. But
I feel targeted.
so many of them develop lifelong psychological problems. Bob has that. I can't bring him in here with the other birds. He gets violent. I can take him out in the aviary, and it's because there's so much to look at, and there's a lot of room to rove around. I'd like to extend that aviary a little bit longer. I'm thinking about it, but because you can do that on those aviaries. But the more room they have, the less trouble you get from them, because they belong flying around in the sky, not stuck in behind bars. So what are you doing over there?
I mean, if you scale down the size of their cage compared to their body, or I guess scale it up and compare, if you were in a room that was the size of their cage, you'd basically be in a closet, wouldn't you?
Pretty much. And it's really constricting for them, because these are beings that were meant to be out flying around. So even if you put them in a large aviary, it's still restricting. It's kind of like being put in an Iron Maiden, locked up inside something where you can't move. That's like they used to do in California with all those caged birds, those battery cages. Um, so really, when they have an advertisement, at these bird stores, come down and get a bird, it really should say something like, "Come get a toddler with wings and power tools for a face." You know.
Oh,
I know, little boy. I know. I'm
oh
petting you.
no, not that apple pencil. No, not that Apple Pencil. No, the fake Apple Pencil. Not that. Not for you. Oh.
So, oh, she's just not getting that. She's not getting that phone nurturing there.
Oh, she wanted
Um,
the She wanted the stylus.
Oh, figures. So you might love the bird you have with everything you've got. You might be totally invested. You might cry when, with them when they're sad. You might, they don't cry, of course. You may give them the best food, right? You might give them the biggest cage, but if you don't really understand how they learn, how they regulate their lives, how their lives work, um, that love will eventually turn into helplessness because you won't know why they're suffering and you won't know how to fix it. So, the best thing is that, study books. Uh, I've mentioned it before. The Manual of Parrot Behavior is the best one on behavior. The BASAVA, the British Small Animal Veterinary Association, the BASAVA Manual for Citizen Birds, will give you an overview of some psychology and physiology and biology. You should look at that. So if you don't know what you're doing, you might try some things that'll just make it worse. So, so love doesn't substitute for training, for setting boundaries. No, you can't eat the wall. No, can't eat the curtain. But when I do that, I have ways of getting them to chew on something else. I find alternative things for them. They can chew on a piece of wood. He's perfectly happy with that. If he didn't have it, he might be chewing the molding on the door. So you have to learn how to redefine, not redefine, but how to find something to replace the need they have. But you're not going to get rid of the need. That's like saying you're going to take a 15-year-old kid and you're going to make it so they will have no interest in the opposite sex. Yeah, okay. Good luck with that. Um, Write me if you're still alive in a year. Um, and you need to give them structure, but you also need to give a little bit of variation. So around here, for example, because I don't have all the time in the world, I do the major cage cleaning on one day. And the next day, I go through and take their water bottles because they have to be scrubbed. I scrub and sterilize their water bottles, and I blow out the air filters. So there is a change on the amount of time. Blowing out the air filters and doing the water bottles takes uh, less time than cage cleaning, so they get more time on the days when I do that. But it's the same routine pretty much, unless I have to go get water or I have to leave for some reason. I still try to make it so that each day is close to the day before, not exact. You don't want exact, you know. If you've ever seen that movie Rain Man, you know why you don't want exact because you know Wapner's on. I mean, they get where they just expect a certain thing, and if it's not there at that time, then you got trouble. And they can tell time. They know how to read by the sun. They know when it's morning, when it's noon, and it's when it's going towards evening. They've got all that figured out. So what you doing, Cecil? Oh, don't get on my. Oh no, you're not going to start doing that. No, I love you, but not that way. Okay.
Oh no,
Okay,
it's
there, baby.
KK getting into horny mode.
Uh, he seems to be going that way. He went down for my wrist, so that's not a good sign.
Well, that's
Um,
one of the problems that they can have.
so if you don't give them a structured environment, then their world might collapse because they just don't know what's going to happen from minute to minute. That would be like trying this thing, like being in the movie Poltergeist, right? Oh, from minute to minute, you're never sure if the trees are going to come grab you through the window, if you're going to go flying through some kind of interspatial thing and end up with a big monster. You don't know what's going to happen from minute to minute, and it's that way for them too, right, Cecil? Hi, KK. Hi, baby. So many parrots end up in rescues because somebody really loved them, okay, but just not in the right way. So maybe they would take them out when they got home from work and pet them for an hour, and then they wonder why they run. They're having all kinds of problems. If they get busy and they can't pet them for that hour. So you have to be careful how much attention you give them, when you give it, how in other words, you got to limit it, just like with kids. You can't have them on the iPhone or the iPad all day long, or playing video games all day long. They've got to, you know, go out and play with the sticks in the backyard a little bit too.
Or a
George
tea
Carl,
strainer.
huh?
Or a tea strainer.
A cheese strainer,
A tea strainer.
a cheese strainer. Oh yeah, yeah. There you go.
That's what mine's doing. She sits on the counter and bashes a tea strainer against a teaspoon for half an hour.
KK, you can't walk on my arm, boy. So, who should have a cockatoo? Well, for anybody who doesn't have one now and is still listening, and you're not running for the hills, and you're not trying to reenact a scene from the movie The Hills Have Eyes at this point. Um, Good. That means you're willing to learn to some extent, and you're ready to start looking at a little more in depth what's necessary to actually take care of these guys. Um, and there are people who are right for cockatoos, um, but that doesn't mean they're saints. Ask any of my ex-wives. um, the people who are good for them are generally structured. I wasn't structured before I got these guys. They need structure. I developed it. Um, Persistent. I mean, 2.5 years to get sugar out of a collar. That was persistent, but I mean, I was on it every day. And you have to be emotionally grounded. Now, I lost on two of those, according to my ex-wives, believe me. But you having fun with that? Let me change the camera here and show you some more of the birds. There we go. There's Sugar doing a little preening.
The headless burp.
So one thing you have to know, and you have to get this deep in your bones, it's not about obedience, because you're never going to get obedience out of a parrot. It's about connection and communication. So you have to be able to connect. I look over at Sugar and I can, usually tell what she's about right now. She's sleeping, but she will look at me to see if I'm going to put the phone down and get ready to do the beak thing, because she likes to have her beak petted. So, and that may mean I might have two birds in my lap, and they both want my attention, and she wants to have her beak petted. So I have to figure out how to kind of maneuver the birds without them realizing I did that, so that I can pet them with one hand while I can pet Sugar. So, and with Snowball, I have to find a way to play with him, even though I might get busy and have a ton of other things to do. If he doesn't get somebody to play with him, then what are you doing up there? That's why I brought the frisbees in, big boy. Then he kind of sulks, like what he's doing now. Are you okay? Good catch.
What a good boy.
Good catch, big boy.
Excellent.
Like I said, when you see it, you have to deal with it. I saw him looking sad. He didn't want me to throw it again, but I can't get over there
He
right
does.
now.
Jasmine is not happy. Jasmine is always the one who doesn't like things to be thrown through the room.
No.
She doesn't like throwing or shouting.
Yeah, you also have to learn emotional regulation, which is probably the hardest thing for me, because I have a tendency to yell at inanimate objects. I drop something, I yell at it like it was the It's your fault you fell on the floor, pencil. You know, that kind of thing.
Not when Jasmine's around.
Or Lorelai. If
Or
you
Lorelai.
if you raise your voice in any kind of what sounds like anger around Lorelai, she'll go to the back of her cage and look scared. So I have learned, when I'm around them, not to do it. Doesn't mean I don't do it. It just means I don't do it when I'm around them. And if I should, she'll bring me back to earth quick with that look. It's like he's gone crazy. Humans lost his mind.
Although I think it's a bit rich when you listen to the way that they scream and shout. But anyway.
Yeah. So these are not pets. These are lifetime companions with trauma. So sometimes I feel like Louise Fletcher in the movie and the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with the. I even have a picture I made like that. But because I have to do things. If you think I really want to stick a needle into cause every week, and that I don't want to do that, but I have to because now she can see um, enough that when she's on my shoulder now, going around from cage to cage as I feed the birds, she doesn't get along well with this bird on my shoulder up here, Cecil. So she starts flapping her wings and making all kinds of noises at him, and he starts doing the same thing with her, which is good, right? Because it means she can see.
It's not good for Cecil. He's like, oh god, it's that crazy girl again.
Well, she started losing weight too. So what happened at first I thought she was reacting to the Haldol, but it wasn't that. It's just that it was starting to affect her digestive tract. And that's the problem with avian ganglioneuritis. It'll start in one place and then later on it moves somewhere else. So she was starting to have the gastrointestinal effect. In other words, she'd be dead in, probably within a year if I hadn't started her on Onsior. If this had happened 2 years ago, she would have just been dead.
Mm.
And horribly, they die horribly with that too. So you have to have realistic expectations, and yeah, and the willingness to learn behavior science. I mean, you've seen some of these psychologists and psychiatrists; they look crazier than us. So if they can learn something like ABA, you could too. I got a good friend, Stephen. He was a plumber in the rich part of San Diego, Fairbanks Ranch. That's where he did his plumbing, and and he had a degree in psychology. And I asked him, I said, Steve, I understand you have a degree in psychology. And he goes, yeah. I go, well, why did you leave psychology? And he said, because those people are friggin' nuts. you know? He says, so I went back to the plumbing field because I could use he said, I can use the psychology with the rich and make a lot of money. And that's what he did. So, but he was a nice guy. I mean, I think he was kind of joking when he said that, people in all psychologists are nuts. But the point he was making is that he just wanted to be with the common folk. So if this plumber could learn behavior science, you can too. Okay, and you don't have to learn it that deeply, but and it's a long-term commitment. If you're going to get a parrot, and then 2 years later say, "Oh, my, I just had a baby and it's allergic," none of us believe you when you say that. When someone says to us, our baby is allergic, our reaction is, oh, it's another lying person who's trying to find a way to get rid of their parent and to justify it to themselves, right? So you have to make that commitment. So what it would mean if you did have a child that was allergic to feather dust, it would mean that you're going to have to run expensive HEPA filters in the house, that kind of thing. Um, Live somewhere where you can have the windows open a lot. That helps too. Will you quit hitting my ear? Get down. Get down. You don't start whacking my earpiece. He knows what he's doing when he does that too. Yeah. Whacking my earpiece. I Can't have that. No, well, I'm doing this. Can't have it. No, no, no. Big boy. Jasmine? So, what do you do if you're already struggling, right? And you think you've tried everything, but you're not ready to spend maybe 3 months studying to really work with the bird you're having that's got problems. Um, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. Remember, this is a consumer society, so they're always telling you buy, 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 right? So if you really can't make that full commitment to study them in more detail, to get some training, then maybe the best choice is to find a rescue or sanctuary. Spend a little time making sure that they're good. If they're Make sure they're a 501c3 and see if they're listed at the Better Business Bureau. If anyone's complained, uh, do a little research and try to find a place for them. It's not easy. Don't just hand them off to anybody. That doesn't work too well. But um, so if you can take Parrot Training 101, which doesn't actually specifically talk about parrots, I said Parrot Training. It's Animal Training 101. Jennifer Zellig's course. Doesn't matter. She teaches you how to train any animal, but then you also have to study the species, parrots in general, and the species you're dealing with. Um, don't count on your vet for behavioral issues. You want to rule out that it's not somatic. Make sure it's not some physical problem that's making them behave that way. Uh, the example I have on that one is the lady that the birds. She had a cockatoo that started biting and nipping and all that stuff, and so she had two houses. She put the bird at the other house. It was dying. It had a tumor. A few weeks later, it was dead. So it was biting because it was in pain and dying. So they don't all do that, but so you want to do that first, and then if you can find a behaviorist that can help train you in behavior, that you sometimes can do that. You can call the local university, a community college, and talk to the psychology department. And they might be able to point you to, or a veterinarian might be able to point you to a behaviorist. Most veterinarians don't know a darn thing about behavior training, and they'll tell you that because that's not part of their curriculum. That would add another couple of years to their because then they're basically talking about psychology. So if there's any questions, this is probably a good time for that. If not, I'll let Cecil beat up on me for a while. Okay, okay. You okay now? You feel better? You feel better, bird? He was having a tough time, weren't you? Got booted out, did you, Eleanor? Mm-hmm.
It's all Sunny's fault.
Mm-hmm. I had that kind of thing happen with, especially with KK. He'll tap the screen, and then whatever I'm
Uh-huh.
doing, it's gone.
But we
Um,
have that famous sugar video everybody likes to see. So I can usually bridge the time until you're back.
yeah, I've been studying because I've actually got some footage now I want to put together. Not something complicated, but I'm going to start using DaVinci Resolve so for our video for my more polished videos. And the problem is the website that has the videos, if you tap the screen, you have to start all over. So after about the fourth time that KK did that, I said, okay, I guess I'll have to do this later. There's some videos on YouTube, but I've gone through those, so I'm actually at the point now where it's just like, it's just gonna have to jump in and do it. So soon you'll be seeing some videos, and most of them are going to be for the members. I'll put one or two out for the public, but we don't make money on videos. I'm not fond of the idea of doing this for money because then you start running after the dollar instead of teaching about birds. So we live on donations, don't we? We do. He's much happier now.
That's good.
Okay.
Happy birds are good birds.
Yeah. KK the bird.
Finally happy. KK?
Yeah, the guy who had him thought it was funny to try to teach him to say 3Ks instead of 2. They had to train him out of that. There's something just not right about a white bird saying that. So gonna bury
Actually,
your
it's
head.
pretty gray under the feathers. Gray
He
to
has
blackish.
he
Dark
has
oil.
buried he's buried his hand in his face in my hand. Hi, baby. Until he saw me put the camera down. Oh yeah, Natalie and James, don't worry about that. If you can, you can. If you can't, don't worry about it. It's the main thing is that you're learning something. That's the main thing is that people learn. Donate if you can. If you can't, don't think about it. Doesn't matter because we're here to teach. That's the point of it. Isn't that right, Cecil? We're here to teach. You having fun, Cecil? Oh no, you're gonna kill me with that thing. You made something that looks like a shiv. Don't stab me with that. That's all I ask. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, big boy. See, he's got that one behind that big piece of wood. That's a sharp piece there. If he just pulls that out and stabs me, it'll probably go in a little bit. I don't know why you have to make implements that are like that. It looks like a needle for a giant sewing machine. What a strange bird. Well, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Eleanor, and thank you, Anna Marie, for moderating while I
Yeah,
chatted on.
thank you for the live stream and for
And
showing
thank
us
you
the
all.
bird.
And thank you all for being here. Snowball wants me to play again. He's standing on a frisbee staring at me. Try not to hit my glasses, please. If they get
Oh,
scratched, I have to go get a new pair, and I don't want to do that. I got to find another optometrist. The last place I went to, I felt like I was uh, on a conveyor belt moving from one machine to another. And they had about as much personality as that. So felt like I was on a conveyor belt. Go into this room, do that. Now go into this room, different person in every room. No, not doing that again. Well, guys, I'm going to say goodbye for now, and Cecil won't say goodbye, but
Baba
KK, you
do that
could.
sometimes.
I'm going to finish this with that video of this way. Sugar.
Hi. 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 Hi.
Science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.
Evidence is evidence. It's public. Everybody can look at the evidence and assess it, and eventually, if there's enough evidence, come to the same conclusion.
Of the Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos, a nonprofit charity dedicated to the empowerment of captive parrots and public awareness.